StraightallDay.com.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you're expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is do not let your weekends cost you your weekdays. Now, before I get into this topic, first of all, let me tell you all that I have a daily motivation text message that I send out, as I said, daily to everyone who is in my text community. But hey, one day I do reserve the right to change it to weekly. At the most it'll be weekly. That's the furthest apart that I would do. But for now, I'm sending it every day. I keep telling y'all different times I might change it to weekly, you might change it, but I've kept it daily the whole time through, as a matter of fact, even though I warned you that I might change it to weekly. But anyway, whenever I send that message out, you want to receive it, just text me at my number. The number is 305-384-6894. And every time that I send out that message, you will get it. It will be going straight to your phone. All right, so just text me right now. As long as you have a phone, all you got a phone, text me at that number so you're getting that motivation text every time I send it out. Now, to this topic, don't let your weekends cost you your weekdays. I actually got to give a shout out to Chad. He's actually one of my coaching clients who we were having a conversation about a specific topic that was specific to him. And I actually said this actual phrase, don't let your weekends cost you your weekdays. And he said, man, that's a good concept that I don't know if you have any material on that concept, but you should. And when he said that, I said, oh, well, I'm glad you said that. Well, I didn't say this, but I actually thought to myself, well, I'm glad he said that, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go make some further content on this subject, even though it was just something that was kind of like an offhand comment that I made to him on a coaching call that we were having. So any of you want to know how I get the ideas from my content? Sometimes it's just something that I say, and somebody remarks about it, like, damn, that's a really good concept. I never thought of that. It might be something that to me might seem commonplace, it might seem a normal just way of thinking, just a normal thing to say. But if I notice that someone else, it's an insight to another person, then I say, you know what, if it's an insight to Chad, then it might be an insight to 100 other people or 1,000 other people, or however many of you is listening to this. So y'all can thank Chad, put the energy out to thank Chad for coming up with this, or noting that this is an idea that I should make an episode on, because that's the very reason why this episode exists. So I just told you where it came from, so let's get right into it. I don't need to tell you anything else. Moving on to point number one. Topic once again is do not let your weekends cost you your weekdays. The general idea here, let me explain to you what the general idea of this phrase is that you don't want to allow your relaxation and vacation times to undo all the progress that you made during your work time. That's what this means. That's what this metaphor means. So those of you who work hard Monday through Friday and then you get the weekends off, and some of you do that. Some of you, if you're like me, then maybe the weekends aren't really off time for you. You might work 7 days a week. I know some of you do that, especially those of you who are entrepreneurs, you're owning a business or you're building a business. Some of you who work in maybe a more traditional work lifestyle, you work Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sundays are your off times, and that's completely fine, whichever one you do. But here's what I'm helping you understand. Or even if you work Saturday to Thursday and you get off, or you work Saturday to Wednesday, you get off Thursday and Friday, whatever it is, whatever your times that you are off the clock, don't let what you do off the clock cost you all the work that you did while you were on the clock. Everybody get what I'm saying here? That's what this concept is about. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't relax. I'm not saying that not to have a drink if you like to have a drink. I'm not saying don't go to the club or the bar if that's what you like to do. I'm not saying don't eat some ice cream if you enjoy eating ice cream. What I am saying though is make sure whatever you do during your rest times is not undoing all the work that you did during the work time, because then what's the point? And this is what most people do, as a matter of fact. This is what the average person does. The average person goes to work, and let's say out of 7 days in a week, let's just say the average person works 5 days a week, and they do all their hard work and all the stuff they're supposed to be doing. They're being disciplined because they have to, and there's a work schedule that makes them be disciplined. They're doing all this stuff, right? And then here's what happens. Friday evening happens. They go to happy hour, then they go out to the bar, they go out to the club, then they sleep in on Saturday and Sunday, they eat a bunch of junk, so they undo their fitness. They are not feeding their mind anyway, so they're undoing everything they did mentally. They're not following any of their disciplines, so they undid whatever progress they had been making, the momentum they had created by going through the 3rd days during the week. They undo all that, send themselves right back to the first day. I wrote about that in my book, 3rd Day, over the weekend, because they let themselves go. And then the next week, here's what happened on Monday. They go right back to the first day, and they got to work their way up all over again. And then they just repeat this cycle all over again. So what they're doing is taking 2 steps forward and 2 steps backward. So over time, where are they actually going? I mean, all you know math, right? What happens if you move, all of you took algebra in school, what happens when you take any number, let's take the number 0, and we add 2. So 0 plus 2 equals 2, and then we subtract 2. 2 minus 2 equals what? 0. And this is what people do their whole lives. During the week, they add 2, and then on the weekend, they take away 2, and they are right back at 0. And then they do the next thing the next week, and the next week, and the next week, and the next week. And before you know it, 25 years are gone by, and they're still in the exact same spot because they allowed their weekends to cost them their weekdays. Is everyone following the metaphor here? So if you're a sports team, for example, and your team has a big lead at halftime of the game, what you don't want your team to do is come out in the second half with a lackadaisical attitude as if the game is over, because the other team can make up the difference in the second half the same way that you created the difference in the first half. And this is what many people do in their lives, metaphorically speaking, is that we relax when we feel like things are working, or we feel like we've done all the work that we need to do. And during our relaxation time, we give back everything that we created during the work time. This challenge of complacency happens to a lot of us when we start to get into the process of success, and we can see ourselves getting towards the outcomes that we're working on. All right, what we end up doing is we basically take our feet off the gas pedal. That's what happens. And I had an episode on this. Let me tell you where it is. The episode was on how to not relax when you actually are in the lead. When you have things working for you, there was episode 23-24, how to not relax when you're winning. So if you didn't listen to that episode, it was just a few weeks ago, make sure you go back and listen to that episode, because that's the exact thing that I'm talking about here. Point number 2, today's topic, once again, is do not let your weekends cost you your weekdays. This is not me telling you that you're not allowed to relax or take a break or go on vacation or whatever you prefer to do when you're not working. All right, whatever that is, do it if that's what you want to do. But what I'm saying is, whatever you do when you're not working, they are not divorced from what you do when you are working. So there's a saying, any of you have been to Las Vegas, you know one of their key slogans that they always use. I don't know if they use it anymore, but they should use it because it was a great slogan. They said, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's a great saying. It's a great catchphrase to tell people, look, this is a place where you can come and you can just let go and just do what thou wilt and just enjoy yourself, because nothing bad is gonna come out of this situation. That's a great catchphrase that Vegas was using, and they should be using it because it's great for sales. But I'm here to let you know that what happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas, and I'm not talking about Vegas, I'm talking about you. So what happens in Vegas, like your Saturday and Sunday, it doesn't stay in Saturday and Sunday. All right, so if you're a person who's trying to lose weight and you go and eat at a buffet and have a lot to drink and don't work out on the weekends, that doesn't stay on the weekend, does it? Because on Monday morning, you feel everything you did on Saturday and Sunday. Is this true or is it not true? All right, any of you going out on a Thursday night and got drunk, all right, did you not feel it Friday morning? Okay, of course you did. We call that a hangover. All right, so what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas. It's a great phrase. It's a great marketing slogan. And again, if I worked for the Vegas tourism industry, I would say we absolutely going to use that phrase in all of our marketing because it works. It sells. But at the same time, if I'm talking to an audience like you all, and I got to be logical and rational and tell you the truth of what's going on, I'm going to tell you that, yes, the slogan is great for marketing, but it's not actually true. All right, what happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas. Just like there's a lot of marketing slogans that project one idea, but the idea is not actually true. There's a book out there called The One Thing. Any of you heard of that book called The One Thing? I believe it's Gary Keller, and I think is Jay Papasan. Gary Keller, I know, is one of the authors of the book. It's called The One Thing. And The One Thing is a great marketing slogan. It's a great title to sell a book because it is selling everybody on the idea that if you just do this one thing or think this one thing, that you can become successful. When the truth is, there is no one thing. Okay, there's no one thing that's going to make you successful, people. I don't know if any of you thought that was true. It's not true. There is no one thing. All right, it's like 30 things that you got to do to be successful, not one. But if somebody wrote a book called 30 Things, it wouldn't sell too well, because who wants to sign up to do 30 things? Again, as I've said many times on this show ain't for everybody. That's why it's called Work on Your Game. Many people see the title and they see the word work and they're like, oh, not for me, because they're looking for entertainment. They're looking for something fun and easy. I'm not looking for the people who are looking for that. I'm looking for the people who want to do the work. All right, that's why this show ain't for everybody. It's for a specific segment of the population. So any of you who thought that, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, no, it doesn't. All right, do something in Vegas and see if it stays in Vegas. Okay, everything has a cost, folks. Everything counts. Remember that your bank account, your business, your body, and your brain, guess what they do not know? Let me pose this question. I'll give you a second to think about it. Your bank account, your business, your body, and your brain. There is something that they do not know. They all have the same knowledge gap. You want me to tell you what it is? The knowledge gap that they all share? Your bank, your business, your body, and your brain. They do not know that it's the weekend. All right, your business, your bank account doesn't know that it's the weekend. So if you spend money recklessly on Saturday and Sunday, your bank account doesn't care what day it was. All right, that money is coming out of your account. All right, your body does not know that it's summertime. All right, your body doesn't know, your liver doesn't understand that you're on vacation, and that's why you had 10 shots of vodka. It doesn't understand that you're on vacation, that's what you're supposed to do. Oh, you still got to pay for that. Oh, your liver is going to say, oh, you're on vacation? What does that mean? That means that I'm not supposed to let you know that you beat me up last night with those drinks? Oh, everything counts. Every dollar you spend counts the same amount no matter what day of the week it is. Is this true or not? All right, if you max out your credit card in Vegas on vacation, all right, you still owe the credit card company. It doesn't matter that you spent it in Vegas or if you spent it back home, wherever you live. All right, the money still counts. All right, every dollar counts no matter what day of the week it is. Everything you eat counts towards your waistline and towards your health, no matter where you are, whether you're on vacation, whether your family came in for the weekend, you're hanging out with your buddies from back in the day, you went to somebody's wedding and they had great food and great drinks. Your waistline says, okay, I don't care where you were at, but look, you gained 5 pounds over the weekend, and now you got to do all the work you did last week. You got to do it again just to get back to neutral. So you want to lose weight? Okay, now we got to start back over at zero because you were on, quote unquote, on vacation. Look, vacation, it doesn't matter that you're on vacation. If the goal is we're trying to do this and you do something to counteract it, you got to pay for that. Everything has a cost, folks. Every thought that you think has an effect on your conscious and your subconscious mind, whether you were joking or not when you said it. So you say something that is not where you want to take yourself, even though you were joking, your subconscious mind took it literally. So all these things being said and all these things being understood by you, act accordingly. And this is not to say don't enjoy yourself or have fun or let yourself go at times, but do so with the knowledge that everything you do must be paid for. So with that thought in mind, maybe, just maybe, you might be a little bit more conscious and a little bit more intentional. Two of my favorite words that I use on this show. Conscious and intentional about what you do on those off moments, those off-peak hours, so to speak. Everybody with me here? The very concept of the weekend, by the way, many of y'all don't know this. The weekend, that began back in the 1870s. It was in the middle of the Industrial Revolution. See, back then, workers worked in, most people who worked, period, worked in factories. And they would simply just follow the process that the factory told them to do. And they would work somewhere between 10 and 16 hours every single day. And what happened is the workers, smartly, they started to demand time for themselves. Because they would work every single day, 10 to 16 hours. But what happened is workers banded together and they started to demand, hey, bosses, we need time for ourselves. It shouldn't just be work all the time. We never had time for our own lives. We're doing all this work, don't even have time for life. So how did the weekend come about? Well, it came about because Sunday was already a holy day for Christians. So people who were Christian already took Sunday as a holy day. And then you had a lot of Jewish people, and the Sabbath was on Saturday. Thus, that's how the weekend came to be about. Since Sunday was for Christians, Saturday was for the Jews, we said, all right, we might as well just make this the weekend. And Saturday and Sunday are days when traditionally people just didn't work. That's how the weekend came about. So now you got some new information. If you're ever on Jeopardy or you're playing Trivial Pursuit at somebody's house party, you got the answer to a question. It didn't happen easily or fast, this whole concept of the weekend, but that's how we got to Saturday and Sunday being traditional off days from work. People just needed a respite from their work responsibilities, and is also why we ended up having things like happy hour, which is usually what, like 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Why is it 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.? Why is it not 12 p.m. to 2? It's from 5 to 7 because that's the time when people get off work and they're right off of work and they want to go have a happy hour, right? They need time to be happy because they just spent 8 hours not being happy at work. So now we get 2 hours to be happy, where you drink, beat up your body, and you don't go home to your family. All right, this is also why we have vacation days. This is also how we got sick days. All right, so a respite is a short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. All right, that's the definition of that word. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing it right. It is respite. All right, so I was pronouncing it wrong. Respite is how it's pronounced. So a respite, R-E-S-P-I-T-E, not E-C-T, not the Aretha Franklin song. Respite is a short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. All right, that's what the weekend became traditionally. And some of you still treat it like this, and that's fine if that's the way you want to treat it. Maybe you are dealing with things that are difficult or unpleasant. I'm just telling you that just because it was difficult or unpleasant doesn't mean that whatever you do after it doesn't count. It still counts. So let me offer you a better quality question. How can you make what you're doing on your weekdays more pleasant for you so that you don't need to let so much of yourself hang out on the weekends? Because see, some of you listening to what I'm saying here, even if you're taking heed to it, you might say, all right, Dre, I get what you're saying. So how can I be more disciplined on the weekends? That's one of the questions that many of you probably ask when you hear what I'm saying here. How can I be more disciplined on the weekends so that I don't let myself go? I understand what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas. Everything counts. Everything adds up. Everything has a cost. I get it, Dre. How can I be more disciplined on the weekends? Wrong question. Let me give you a better quality question. Let me say it again. The better quality question is, how can you make what you do on the weekdays, Monday through Friday, more pleasant so that you don't need so much of a respite on the weekends? Because see, if you enjoy the weekdays enough, then the weekend, you don't have to go crazy. Because the weekdays are good enough. You're excited to get back to the weekdays. If you find yourself dreading Sunday evenings because you know what's coming next, Monday, then what we need to do is look at what you're doing on Monday. Not why you're messing up on Saturday and Sunday. The reason you're going crazy on Saturday and Sunday because Monday through Friday is not so great. Let's fix that. Isn't that a better question? How can you make the week better so there's not a big difference between the week and the weekend? I think that's a really high quality question if you ask yourself and you demand that you come up with some answers. Point number 3. The topic is, do not allow your weekends to cost you your weekdays. Number 3, give yourself some disciplines to follow even on the weekends and on your vacations. Remember that discipline doesn't know what day it is. So even if your discipline is not nearly as stringent or regimented as your weekdays, you still need to give yourself some form of process. Now, why is this? Why am I'm telling you to have process every day, like 365 days a year? Yes, that's what I'm telling you. Why? Because remember that your body, your bank account, and your mind do not care, nor do they know what day it is. Everything counts the exact same amount. You spend $1 on Saturday, it will cost you the same amount as $1 you spent on Wednesday. So if you're trying to lose weight and you're eating in a healthy and disciplined way Monday through Friday, and then you're getting out of control on Friday night through Sunday, what's happening is you're confusing your body. Because your body's like, okay, what program are we actually on here? This is not to say that you can't have cheat days or cheat meals and such if they are part of your process. Are they in your process, or are you just making that as an excuse, using that as an excuse to just go crazy because you're tired and you need a respite from something that's difficult or unpleasant? Just letting yourself go, doing whatever you want to do to make up for the fact that you were disciplined all week. That's not a process, folks. That's recklessness is what we call that. Unless you want to call recklessness a process. All right, I had a long, tough, hard week of work, so now I'm just gonna have drinks and eat crazy and just not follow my disciplines because the week was hard. Understand, your body doesn't know that the week was hard. Your body just knows that you're following a program, or it knows that you're not following one, and it will respond in kind. So the question just is, how do you actually want to live out here? And that's a question only you can answer. But while you think about it, let's recap today's class. It says, do not allow your weekends to cost you your weekdays. Point number one. And shout out to Chad for telling me that, planting the seed that this is an idea that I should expand on. Point number one, general ideas: do not allow your relaxation and vacation times to undo all the progress that you made during the times when you were on the clock. So a sports team that has a big lead can lose a big lead. So don't relax at halftime just because you're in the lead right now. I talked about this again in episode 23, 24, which is how to not relax when you are winning. Go listen to that if you haven't already. Point number two, I'm not telling you that you're not allowed to relax, take a break, go on vacation or whatever. It's just remember that those times are not completely divorced from the times when you are actually putting in work. And everything has a cost. Everything will be tallied up in the end. Everything you eat counts towards your waistline and your health. Every thought has an effect on your conscious and subconscious. This very concept of the weekend, it began because people wanted a break from working all the time, and they wanted a respite. And we ended up with Saturday and Sunday because of the Christians had Sunday, the Jews had Saturday, so they said, all right, Saturday and Sunday, those are the days people don't work, and people needed a respite. That's how we ended up with vacations, sick days, and happy hours. Definition of a respite is a short period of rest or relief from something that is difficult or unpleasant. So let me ask you a better quality question than how to be disciplined on the weekends. That's a question a lot of people ask, and if it was as simple as me giving you the answer, then you would already be doing it. Let me give you a better quality question, which is, how can I make the weekdays more enjoyable so that I don't need the weekends as much? Point number three, give yourself some disciplines to follow on your weekends and vacations. Even if it is not nearly as strict and regimented as your weekdays, you still should give yourself some form of process, because your body, mind, and bank account do not know what day it is, nor do they care. All they care about is what process you're following, if there is a process, and your body, mind, and bank account will react in kind to how you treat them. So if you're not treating them as if there's a process, they will respond as if there is not a process. So don't go crazy on a Friday night all the way through Sunday, because it confuses your body, and your body will respond with confusion if you give it confusion. So letting yourself go and doing whatever you want to do to make up for the fact that you were disciplined all week at something hard, something unpleasant, that doesn't make it okay. Because everything comes with a cost. The price tag does not change. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. All that said, text me to get my daily motivation text straight to your phone. My number is 305-384-6894. And go to workonyourgame.net if you are a business professional serious about taking your business to the next level. You want to get to the 6-figure level or the 7-figure level. Understand that there is a process that you can put in place that will make it easy for you to do these things without having to work harder. I will share that process with you and tell you how you can work with me directly to implement it. That is all at workonyourgame.net. The training is completely free. Work on your game. Dre all day.